Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the weekly WAYPN. I'm Cal.
And I'm Sunny.
And we're here in the new toxic office.
The new atas place known as the Le Recording Studio.
Yeah, and that's why, of course, we can hear all the crickets now because...
Yes.
Well, they're not crickets, are they? They're cicadas, aren't
cicadas,
they?
yes, correct.
Yeah, they just come straight through the window, even with the foam blocking it.
I shall clarify, cicadas are not flying through the window. The sounds they make fly through the window.
Despite all of our best efforts, I am still just...
Well, the video did say we need more than this amount of foam.
Yes, perhaps I'll use some insulation foam on there. But anyway, so hopefully we don't sound like poopy. Because we can't use the bad words.
Yes.
The one that starts with A.
A.
And then an
S.
S. And then another S. Alright.
Or A-R-S-E. Anyway.
Marcel's just been here this entire time.
You're
just
gonna
going...
talk about my thing now?
Yeah, he's just like...
You're so self-obsessed.
Please.
Okay, I
put a lot of work in.
I read now, okay? See,
you read.
I made this one for a good friend, and I used the colors he liked. I painted him mostly with shade color. For the base coat, I used Grey Seer, a color that I primarily used on my own Marines and sisters. After that, I use, Carroburg Crimson shade with 3 layers on the most part of the model. For the blue tone, I used Lothern blue and a shade of... I think it's
Lothern.
Okay, and then this is Drakenhof. Drakenhof Nightshade. Okay. It was a gift for him, and he really likes it. I make another one for him in the same scheme. I see.
Well, I think that... So, we played your video before, but I'm going to open it up in hopes that my computer does not explode. So, one of the main things I was going to talk about is how it's sort of an incomplete coat. But, the thing is, he said... I did it with these specific things, with this specific intention. And, I feel like a lot of what I would critique is, the choice of paint. You know, it looks very watercolory.
It does look very watercolory, yeah. At least for the purple bit.
Yeah, no, well, not just the purple bit, but also the blue bit, I feel.
I thought the blue came through a bit more opaque as compared to the purple part. But my comment for this, when I had written out my comment, I said that I think he could use a bit more of differentiation in the choice of purple and blue, something that created a bit more contrast. Because the value of the purple and the value of the blue are not that far off from each other. So he could have either used a very dark purple with that blue that he's already got, or a darker version of that blue and keep that same purple. It just needed that differentiation, I think. But I understand where you're coming from with the watercolor look. I think personally, I would have maybe gone with another layer of the contrast paint.
It's not contrast, it's shade.
I
don't know why it's trying to play the Enterprise for me, but anyway.
Yeah.
So there's... It's frustrating because a lot of the things that I want to say are in response to what it is. The only thing that I can say is constructive. I think the skulls are fine, but they need to be more buried into the snow. At the moment, they're more on the top.
Yeah, it almost looks like they were placed there.
Yeah.
Rather than he's in a battlefield, a snowy battlefield, uncovering the death underneath the ground.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And you also need one shrubbery or one something else. It's a rock. It doesn't matter what else.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I can say. I think everything, he's very within the lines and everything, but with the exception of the knee here. But other than that, I think I find it frustrating because I'm just like, oh.
What else can you say?
Yeah, because
help improve this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how about like highlights in the eye, maybe?
No, because we can't really say that because that's part of the style. Because he's gone for the style of using just shades to get that more watercolor effect.
Huh.
And that's
But there's nothing wrong with just adding like a dot in the eye, right? Like just to create that highlight.
Yeah, well, I think that could be good to create that contrast of kinds, just for the eyes at least. Maybe like break your own rule and.
Yeah, because I think it will bring a bit more life to the model because every time someone looks at a person, the eyes and the face, they're where they go. So if you bring a bit more life into the eyes, it really makes a model come to life a bit, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion, I thought.
But I hope our commentary's been helpful because, like, I felt a bit hamstrung not being able to really comment because, like, a lot of my sort of feelings is very much based around the sort of watercolor style look. But everything else has come out quite clean. All right. So next up,
we have Ron.
And so Ron has been working on some more stuff for Kellogg's of Underwater. No, Kellogg's of the Water.
Kellogg's.
Kings of.
Now that's already two of the correct words.
Oh, okay. Karen of Woolworths.
Woolworths?
No, Karen of Woolworths.
That makes sense. Okay, let's go with that.
All right. So, I just want to take a look at these a bit closer. I feel like he's been doing a lot better work with these underwater guys.
Are those the underwater guys?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, now I see that he's got the sand. And the one starfish. Yeah, I couldn't tell.
And the brain coral.
Yeah, the brain coral. That's what they're called. Is it brain coral?
Yeah, it's called brain coral.
Brain coral, yeah, okay. I just thought people call it that because like a colloquial term because it does look like a brain.
Oh, there's probably like some scientific term for it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah. So I think the contrast is great with the crab claw and all of that. I like the purple, contrasting against both the skin and the claw.
Yeah.
The only things I'd say about these guys is maybe make the bones a bit lighter because they're very similar value as you said.
Yeah. I think another dry brush coat of like what's lighter than the Xandri dust what's the lighter color?
This is how I would go. So for darkness, I'd go. Talon sand. No, not Talon sand. There's one other than Talon sand before Xandri dust. Xandri dust, and then it goes Ushabti bone.
Ushabti
and then I think it's Screaming Skull, and then Korax white.
You don't actually go 4 steps. You usually just end with 2 to 3.
Usually I go a lot darker for my bone these days. I'll start at like Talon sand. I'm not sure. All of the names are stupid, okay?
Yes.
Don't blame me for the stupid names.
Do not blame Henry for what has befallen us.
Yes.
The Warhammer. The Warhammer name game. Yes.
But yeah, because I think they've come up pretty well, and the only other thing I would say is they have very white teeth, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because a lot of fish have very white teeth.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose they do. Yeah. Must be all that calcium and the mercury, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like this piece. And I had like a whole analysis breakdown.
Did you?
Look at. I want to read it in my artist voice.
Okay.
Wait, we must read what he said first.
Okay. Nalada hard pierces for my Karen of Woolworth's Triton realm.
Well, it says Naiad. I think that's how you say it.
I've got no idea.
Well, okay, so the Naiads, and then I said.
You said words.
I said words, and the words say, these ones look super cohesive. The emerald green really complements the aqua skin tone, creating just enough contrast without pulling too much attention away from the model. And the bits of orange and gold help to break up the visual focus of the model while picking out those details. Oh, well done.
Well, now I'm just going to have to pull you down a peg after.
You have to clap for me.
No. So the only thing I would say to that is this bit right here, being the same color as them, makes them feel a bit off, just a tiny bit off.
Yeah, like the body part is floating outside of them,
No.
What
Like,
is that?
It's a floating
Seaweed.
Yeah.
I think maybe he just hasn't colored it yet.
No, he has. He just colored it the same as them.
Oh, okay.
See, and I think if you had it the same as their hair, it would be
more sense.
Yeah.
Or maybe you forgot about that little seaweed boy.
So I'm just taking a look at them. There's a lot of good color use, but I feel like it's very much just sort of the analogous color scheme. Yellow to yellow green. Like if you look at this.
Yeah, it is blue, yellow, green.
Yeah, and like I feel like
Orange.
you just want one thing to contrast against. Maybe like you do have that orange here, right? With the conchs. They called conch?
Conch shell? Yeah.
A conch shell.
Conch shell.
Okay. But I feel like if you just maybe had something in the eyes, like a red.
Or even if you whited them out. That would have brought some level of attention to it.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that this series that he's done for the Karen of Woolworths.
Kings of Woolworths.
Yeah,
Yes, Karen of Woolworths.
Yes. I think they've been some of his best stuff. I really
definitely.
like the bases that he's been doing with these.
I really like that for these ones. He got the little coral, the different types of coral.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very nice.
All right, and then there was this one. We actually discussed this one before the podcast, and we feel like I was talking about the bleeding of this and how like it's not quite separate with each of them. They sort of run into one another, and I thought that's not actually that bad because there are sea creatures that look like this, but I think maybe some black lining, just get an ink or something and just run it along there. But we talked about the biggest thing that we thought this lacked was no eyes.
Yeah. Just something to bring a bit more definition to the face or even some of the other body parts if you could. Mm-hmm. And that would just really make it pop a bit more.
Yeah, because we think like that was essentially the only thing that was missing with a lot of these ones because we looked at a lot of them and we're like, oh, that's pretty cool, blah, 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 yeah. But yes, so...
Oh, another one. Yeah, I really liked this piece just because look at all those very nice cohesive colors.
Yeah, all right, we will take a look in much closer. So do you want to read?
Looking great. Super high contrast. You will attract people's attention from far away.
So, once again, I think the sort of lacking of the eye region is like... The reason why I say that's really important for this one is because there's nowhere to center your eye. There's no visual hierarchy here.
Because that's just the way the model has been composed. Mm-hmm. How high or wide certain positions is. It break it down into simpler shapes, and you can't really focus on the face as much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other bigger things that are drawing your attention. I would say the yellow webbing thing, whatever that is the first thing that catches my eye. And then that giant orange conch shell. And then the claw, I think. Is that a claw?
I think it's like a shield with stuff growing out of it.
Yeah, so you're looking at literally everything else but where you probably intend the person to see, which is the face.
Yeah.
So, again, not your fault. That's just the way it's been constructed. So,
I think some of the times when you have that, you've got to put a lot of work into actually pulling the attention
into that, yeah.
So, like, for example, maybe a lighter green, like because a lot of values are similar here, right? Like
Yeah.
and see maybe a much lighter face to bring.
Because it does seem that the hand looks like a much paler aqua than the face.
Yeah.
So if you had it like the same color as there, the hair would be darker than the face, and because the hair is the thing that's framing the face, your eye follows the shape and goes into the face. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
So
Joseph.
we'll take a look at these ones in the end, and so he was asking about
what colors to do the clothes.
Yeah, but he wanted them as sort of a camouflage, because I think that's what this model is, right? And like you've seen those stone vases.
Yes.
That's what Kingdom of Death is all about.
Yeah.
So I think they come through pretty well.
So is he meant to camouflage with the stone face ground?
Yeah, because like that's pretty much all of the terrain in the game.
Okay,
much.
Sorry, then I misunderstood the question.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, when you said something, I was like, but no.
Yeah, but you didn't correct me. You didn't.
Yes. All right. So next up, so we will comment more on these because we've got them completed in
the
later
post. Yeah. Okay.
So 2 more special skeletons done. Crickets for Relic Blade. You know, I'm not sure that they understand that crickets don't actually have bones. They have exoskeletons. They look considerably different to these.
Yes. I do not know why they've decided to call these human skeletons crickets.
I think maybe because of the way they sort of rearrange the bones so they look more like a cricket. Because like you take a look at the way that they're sort of angled and stuff.
I guess.
You know, the silhouette sort of thing.
I don't know. I don't really see it.
Well, like see how they're posed there?
Oh, like on their almost like a quote unquote froggy pose. Like,
yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Yeah, it looks really good from the back actually, because like from the back I can really see all the definition of the bone. But from the front, I think the lack of contrast between the scarf or whatever the covering is.
Yeah, this one much more than this one. This one's come through a lot better. So I think I like the choice of colours. This sort of off pink and with the emerald. I think that's great choice of colours because like emerald's so saturated. This is so desaturated.
Yeah.
And like the bone is so neutral. So like these are the only 2 really contrasting colours here. And it's just a contrast of values here. And see, like this, guys, this is all you actually need for a base, right? See how there's different levels of gravel here? It's not just one singular thing. Plus the actual rock that they're on themselves. That gives them all the elements that they need. But yeah, I'd agree with you like that this one just isn't strong enough. Just another coat of that and you're pretty much done.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'd say these ones look a lot better than last time we saw them. Yeah, a lot better. But yes, let us move on. And then Alex took on our advice and decided to show off a little.
Yes, he did much of that paint chipping look.
So apparently really he free-handed this.
The
sword.
What?
That symbol.
No way.
I may have gone overboard. I didn't have a Deathwing transfer, so I had to freehand it.
When I read that, I didn't actually make the connection that he was talking about that symbol.
So this one's done up quite a bit more, but I just wanted to go into the cracking and stuff. So there are parts where he did it a lot better than other areas. So for example, this right here on this knee, down here, along here, I would say that they are perfect. See the sort of crack sort of thing? I'm not sure that it sells the effect as well as, the just standard old little bits of paint chipping sort of thing, right? It is very visually dramatic, and I think this right here, it looks like a bullet impact sort of thing.
Yeah, it does look like a bullet impact.
And it is very, very visually striking. But the one thing that sort of I would say, right, I think that this isn't a knock against your painting skills, because this is obviously very high in terms of painting skill. But you take a look at this leg here, and you take a look at this leg here, right? And the battle damage just doesn't match up, right? Now, see, you could explain that with this gloved hand, right? But you can't explain that as much with this leg here, right? And it seems very off when you compare this with that nice subtle damage there. And then this, I think this is called a Chrysaris. I can't remember all the 40k silliness names. But the little this head right here, this doesn't have any damage around it. You see what I'm saying? Okay. It doesn't have any of that just standard sort of chipping.
Too asymmetrical, is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't match up. If this hand was all stuffed up and his other hand over here is just fine, right?
So it's got the other hand is the weapon hand and the other hand is the combat hand.
Yeah, exactly.
If you need to punch something or whatever.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, right? I think that he did really just grab that advice, and he's like, you know what? That is a good idea. And then he just went for it.
Yeah.
And I think it really pays off. Like I said, I think that the hand, I think that the knee down here, I think when it's subtler, it actually performs better than when you've got those really sort of sensational things, because down here you've got all that damage, right? Now imagine that you have this sort of level of damage and then you do that special effect right there, right? And I would just be right there.
What's that over there?
Yeah, I don't want to smack too hard, otherwise the mic might just,
There's a thunderclap.
Yes, here, I will do a pop instead. There we go.
Yeah, you like your pop.
Yes. Yeah, it would make it just pop that much more, because people would be like, oh, okay, so somebody hit him with something really big. And because people want to make a story in their head. That's what we do. We're storytellers. Don't believe what anyone else says. We are storytellers in our heads.
Oh, you said that people are rationalizing people,
not rational.
Rational, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we will rationalize, we're not rational. Which will now upset a lot of people. Okay, so 5 more Kingdom Death minis done. Look, he used all the words.
He did, and that means he's only 5 more away from reaching his goal. Okay, still 10.
Leaves me target 10.
I thought he was at 10 previously.
All right, let's take a look. Oh no!
Oh, actually, not bad.
Not as bad, but I think we need more off-white. Maybe even going not to Xandri dust, but somewhere in between Xandri and a Sharpie bone.
Is that really too white? Because it looks like a fairly okay color for this.
But once again, I would say very much it's all of the same sort of things that we have said last time. Great effort with the lantern, with the light. Good color choices, excellent basing, as per usual. You know, the skin work's been coming up very nice and clean, hasn't it?
Yes.
You see that subtle difference there.
And I can see that very subtle shadowing in the muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if he does any shading with the muscle area.
I'm not sure if
it's just the
I think
paint.
this is this area is highlighted. The more exposed area is highlighted, so that makes that jump out that much more.
Because it does look very realistic, the way he paints the skin.
Yeah, it's come up really good. Okay, yes, one more shot of him. But yeah, like, for example, this is what we're talking about with visual hierarchy, right? So we can see his hands are up here, right? And this would be for Ron. So like when we go back here, our eyes are immediately drawn to his eyes because of how light they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then the minute that we go here, right, it's a bit of a different story. But yeah, so I think it's that same good work that we've talked about before.
So now I realize why it looked like underwear and stockings, but it's actually just the pants, and then
But
it's the belt.
I tried to dress her more appropriately for combat because here's how she's supposed to be dressed.
Right, yeah.
But like, I think, you know, I don't mind, and I also don't mind as much these eyes, where like there's far less white. I think that he's done really well with the breasts here. Like, for example, how he's got that sort of subtle shadowing there. I think that looks really good. I think that hair formula that he was working on's come out really well.
Any lower and the pepperonis would be showing. It's true. It's not very supported, my dude.
Yes, well, that is Kingdom Death in a nutshell. Not very supported.
They want
on a number of levels.
Yes, because I know that they're very pin-up style of the models and stuff. I don't really know why.
I think it's just. I just think it's the guy who made the game is just like, I like pin-up style models and I'm doing it.
I know what will sell.
Well,
if we make it like this, the people will buy.
Well, he might have been like that because it is the most successful miniature Kickstarter.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's like 5 million or something.
I thought it was 7 million or something.
I can't remember. It was stupidly high, but like that was sort of the example I showed you, and I said like there is a lot of money in the miniatures game. Just it's hard to access, sort of thing.
You know, I remember. Sorry, I'm just gonna sidetrack very shortly. It's just this reminds me of a meme that I saw on YouTube, and it was like he does great art, and then he's like open for commissions, and then he puts up this price, and then doesn't get any inquiries, and then he lowers the price subsequently.
Oh yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Finally, he says, I do NSFW, and then bing, 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 all the requests start coming in.
No, and I've actually talked to commission artists who are like that. They're like, the problem is if you get into that side of commissions, you never get out of it, and like people won't take you seriously anymore.
Yeah.
So like it's either like struggle and sadness forever and hope that you're noticed, or you know what, go to the degenerates.
But that side of the industry does super, super well for a reason.
But see, like, it doesn't do super, super well. Like, it'll get you paying gigs, but, you know...
does it run out after a while? Is that what it is?
No. It's just, like, you're never going to be paid really well for it.
Yeah, they'll just see you as...
Unless you're drawing stuff which might put you in jail.
Yes, but that's why if you're the underwear painter, you can't go anywhere else after that, I suppose.
Yes.
But yes.
Anyway, so the eyes.
I don't know. This one's not too bad.
But look, here's the reason why I'm giving him a hard time. He said this to us. He said, "Don't feel like you should hold back when criticizing me, because I use this as sort of my check."
I know, it's just that I've seen worse from him, and I just thought that this is actually pretty okay. Because, I mean, yeah, eyes are difficult to get right.
Yes, eyes are very difficult to get right, and I think that the skins come up really well. I think that the skin, like, this is basically... like test your skin. What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry, I just had a thought.
What?
Next time, Joseph should try painting cellulite on these thick thighs.
Oh, quiet you.
Sorry, Jojo.
That would be one way to
ruin everything.
Yes, but once again, with the sort of skin showing there, it's great contrast. But I think it would have been better if he had gone for the shaved head effect.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's an issue of personal taste. I don't think that's saying anything wrong with them. Yeah. The paint job. But once again, it's the same deal. I look at every other part of it, and it's just the eyes are the only thing where I'm like,
oops.
Yeah, because I look at all this, and I'm like, I like all this. I like all this.
Yeah.
It's
got excellent. I can see everything.
Yeah.
Like all the details have been picked out perfectly,
mm-hmm.
and all the colors work together so well that it's just so natural on the eyes. The eyes is not straining anywhere. He's really made good use of the visual hierarchy in the way that the model was constructed, and used the colors in the appropriate areas to bring attention to where attention should be drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's too hard to say exactly, look at this. This is classic anime.
Yes.
I love that blonde hair. That color.
Yeah, this is sort of like that ginger blonde.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, you take a look, right? And it starts out at almost the orange range.
It is a warmer blonde. But yeah, I do see that on some anime figurines tend to have that color as well.
Yeah, because it is a natural style of blonde that does occur.
Yes.
Especially between I think Scottish and English folk. I think the Welsh have it a bit.
Oh.
But yeah, I do think that this has come up really well. But I think it's also there's a couple of beneficial features. I'm fairly sure she's wearing a mask here.
Is that a mask?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure.
I thought there's something like a guard in her mouth or something.
I'll zoom in to take a closer look. But yeah, I think this has come off really well. And see that lighting right there? Oh, yeah.
I really love the highlight on just that
yes,
part of the
because
hair.
That's how, hair goes.
Yeah.
It's very reflective compared to the rest of us.
He's doing really well with these hair textures. They come out so good. Oh, depression, man.
Yes. This is a picture of me, honey.
Joseph. This picture is so depressing that the floor is not big enough to hold his depression. Do you see he extends outside the base? His bed isn't big enough.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Oh dear. He's been stabbed.
It's extra depression.
No, but I love the way he's done that blood.
The blood's come through really well, but here I will give you a bit of a negative score because that right there, you could have used some, what do you call it? Putty to fill in that gap there.
Is that a gap? What is that?
Yeah, that's a gap there, right? That's a gap in the miniature, right? And see, because this looks so good.
Because of the weight.
I wanted to let it run where it was, using less water and blah, blah, feathering it out, all of that. It looks like a real wound.
It looks real. Especially because it's you've got that stark middle blood line, and then you just blur out the edge just slightly.
Yeah.
And that's how blood looks when it's sort of almost running underwater, when it's getting washed away, sort of thing. Obviously, there's no water here to wash it away, but it looks really nice because that's how it stains the skin. It's very nice.
But yes, depression man, be sad.
Depression man.
All right, so let us move on. Oh, hold up. No, I wanted to see, is it mask? All right. Ooh.
I can't tell.
Ooh.
Even at this scale, I can't tell.
It is mask.
Okay. But the eyes, oh dear. This one, I'll have to agree with Henry. This one,
the eyes. The eyes.
It's gone, the gong gong.
The gong gong. Gong gong forever.
Gong gong forever.
Alright, next up we have Andy.
And Andy says, journeys in middle earth Sunday Painting, CW for giant spiders. Okay. How do we name this one?
CW? Cartoon Network.
The network is N. Hello.
Okay. Cartoon Work.
So lame.
Cartoon Woolworths.
What are Woolworths all over the place? Let's see.
Finished off the Oliphants. Speed painted these 3
nameless things.
Painted some giant spiders, which are 95% done, I think. Just need some highlights and to finish the bases.
Alright.
So, the Oliphant, I'm not as much a fan of. I think he's done the best job that he can. It's not the paint job that I have a problem with. I think like he's painted it well. But like I said in the previous thing, the scale is just all off. So I think he did really well with the eyes and he did really well with the timber. Maybe like see here where he's like done the rings and things. You can see these are meant to be whole trees and stuff. This is meant to give you an idea of how big this thing is, right? But this thing is almost as big as the nameless things. I don't mind the nameless things. I like that sort of bleeding flesh sort of look. The
it's not really that bleeding flesh. It's just like, you know, geckos have that sort of watercolory look on the top of the skin, and then it fades very nicely into a cream on their underbelly. That kind of looks like that.
Yeah, so I think that these have come together quite well. But see, he said that the scale was very variable, and I've noticed it so much more with these monsters because I think that Oliphant isn't much bigger. Like I think that the archer chick that he did is about as big as this thing's leg.
The archer chick, I think I vaguely remember.
You really liked her leather quiver.
Yeah.
I think she's about as big as this thing's leg, but in reality, it'd only be like, it should be to like sort of its ankle. So like this is half or less than half of the size it should be compared to everything else. Or maybe even, only like 25%
It's
of
like
the size.
4 elephants put together, right?
It's meant to be more like 10.
Really?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, and see, like, this is... I can very much see the scale.
Ooh, spider.
Yeah, because, like, see, these are meant to be giant spiders. But you can see via the base that these spiders are very much the size...
very big. Yeah.
Well, no, they're not very big. They're smaller than the archer chick.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's taller. They might be wider, but see, like... If this was more true scale, these would be like 2 or 3 times the size of her. I think he's done a great job, getting some colours in there. But I can understand why he's more just like, nah, I'm more get these things done. And like you take a look, I really like that. The effect that he's done here.
It's like a blue and then transition into, I think he used a yellow which made it turn green.
Green, yeah, and like it sort of bleeds through.
And you got that soft amount of highlight to bring back the texture of, I think, fur on these things.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I think
it looks really good.
Especially with the stark contrast of just those pure black eyes. And see, like, I feel like this is Andy's moment of fighting the models. He's usually got such great and interesting models with, like, the Carnivale ones and stuff like that. But I feel here, he's just putting a tremendous amount of effort into some models which aren't the best sculpts.
Okay.
He's sort of being the anti-Cal at the moment. Cal comes in with, like, these amazing sculpts and then, So one more shade of leather to paint, and then it's just the lanterns to go on these scouts.
I think it looks really good.
Yes.
With the dark green, actually, it makes sense.
So once again, the eyes.
You've got faces on your knees, man.
Yes, yeah, I think that looks good. I like it. But see, these eyes are much better than those eyes.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I suppose it is look a bit googly, that one.
Yes. He's interned for Alphabet.
So how do they make that cloak?
I don't know how they make the cloak. I'm not going into the lore. I'm just talking about how they look visually.
Yeah, no, just curious because those have faces on them too.
All right, so one of the things that I know, like, I very much liked the simple basing style here that he chose for these guys, right? So Ron's been doing up some more of these guys, and damn, does Ron smash stuff out.
I feel he's probably super motivated with doing this set. I'm not sure why.
I think that he's trying to get like enough. Like I mentioned that, and I think he's trying to get enough Kings of War stuff for everything, like for all of the factions. And he's like, all right, if somebody wants to play, I've got it all.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fair enough.
So I'm just gonna open these up a bit closer because I really liked a lot of the visual. I really liked a lot of the color harmonies with this, but I feel like that there was some areas where he could just sort of push it a little. So, for example, he's missed some of these leather straps here and that sort of thing, and maybe just doing that same sort of off pink that you saw Cal use, that sort of thing. And he's also done this slight green glow. And this would be the first time that you'd hear me just say it, but just go all out. Go balls to the wall. Just put like fluoro level paint in there because it's going to get lost amongst this many people.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Because I think that these guys look good. But I think, where's the meme? It could be better. Insert that meme. Put it in right now.
Okay, I'll have to find it. And I'll have to keep 7:16 p.m. That's when I shall come and put this.
Yes, that means I must speed up because we've got an appointment at 8, don't we?
Okay. So this one, he sort of just spammed the Tesseract glow on that. And I feel like after seeing all those other ones, I feel a bit disappointed that he just sort of spammed the Tesseract glow.
Well, see, I felt as if right here, along the cloaks, you could have gone a different colour. Like, you could have spammed the Tesseract glow, but have the cloaks be a different colour, maybe like a blue or something else. But I do definitely think, after taking a look at these, 100%, you need to go over these with a soft makeup brush and just get some white on them. Yeah. Because they're just too stark.
Yeah, because it's such a vibrant colour already. Yeah. And then you've got this whole mass of vibrancy.
And see, like, I understand, like, it's all rank and flank. That's the sort of way that this game is meant to be played. It's called rank and flank. You put your units in blocks and they sort of...
just go like sets of army groups, if you will,
Yeah. And so, like, I get the whole idea of it, but it is so hard...
to focus on anything?
Yeah, like, there's this guy, and, like, this guy over here, and maybe this guy. And other than that, I'm like, behold, the green blob.
Yeah, definitely the green blob.
Yeah, but like we're not saying that as an insult because like the thing is we know that you can paint better than this and we think that just that dry brush, especially if you do it around the head areas, will give somewhere for people to focus. All right. So next up we have, I think we got more Ron after this.
Yes.
We do, yeah. Well, I actually really liked the color contrast with this, and it seems to be a repeating pattern for this game, that when it comes to the larger units, it's easier to understand them.
Well, the sculpt is not very sort of all in your face. There are very
Yeah.
clear, distinct parts with it. So it's easier for you to feel confident to paint something that you can imagine and see clearly.
Also, I like this right here. So you see how he's put his paw deliberately forward, and you see the mud sort of building up around, and you got that sort of little bit of liquid in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that looks absolutely fantastic. Like that's why I said I like some of these more simplistic bases. But I think this looks really good. I think that this has paid off really well, especially when you compare it to his Lizardmen one. Like I think you got a good level of contrast with these guys and the area that they're in.
They look like Shaolin werewolves.
Shaolin werewolves on Cartoon Network.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I liked this guy, and like I feel like he's pure contrast, but this is like the epitome of visual hierarchy. So you go straight to the face. You see the hair, right?
And then the cloak, the way it sort of curves downwards.
We'll see, like, the other part you go to next usually is this here, because it's quite bright.
Okay.
But, like, that's what you want. You want them to go right here to the face. Right in the face!
Right in the face.
But I'm not 100% sure what's going on here.
You look like hazard stripes.
Well,
from this distance, actually.
Yeah, but see, like, I look at it and I think it's meant to be planks of wood or something, right?
Uh-huh.
But, like...
But there's a tuft of green there.
Yeah, we'll see, like, the planks of wood end just before it. And see, I think this is where you've sold the sort of swamp the least, in my opinion. But, like, I think the miniatures come out well. Like, he's doing these for, what do you call it, tabletop. And I think they've come out really well for tabletop. But yeah. And here it is all done up. So, I feel like a lot of what I said about it before holds true. So here we go. So you see how he's highlighted up the death's head that we were talking about before, right?
Yeah.
But there's no battle damage around it. So it looks oddly out of place.
Yeah, because it looks like he's only used one knee this whole time, considering how the damage is on the other side.
And see, I wouldn't mind if this part was not damaged, because the whole idea is maybe this part's separate and they sort of press it onto the armor or something. But when you see it compared to over here, and it's the same right here, how like all of this is so damaged and then pristine. See, like here, you can sort of get the idea because these are massive, what are they called, greaves? No, I think they're greaves. And like that's meant to protect all of that sort of inner thigh part. But yeah, also very good use of subtle color theory. So like you see how it's got a bit of blue in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got a bit of blue in it, you know, which harmonizes with this.
The green.
And see, these all almost seemed cool compared to the
warm yellow.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think that the face looks great. All of that looks great. I love the contrast between this. But there was one thing I was thinking. You could make this asphalt. Is this called asphalt?
Yeah. Bitumen, asphalt.
You could make it a bit bluer. Not a lot. Just a bit bluer to contrast more against
with
this.
Yeah, I was thinking that in my head.
Sinking?
Yeah. Sinking it in my head.
Singapore.
Singapore.
Yes. Because I think all of this has come together great. I really like the battle damage. But we did already mention that. I think the color contrast is good. I think this in here, where he's got...
Could be a bit more shadowed, yeah.
Well...
Could put a wash on that.
No, I don't think a wash, but see, usually, as far as I know, when it comes to these guys, that piping is actually a different material. This is one of the few areas where you'd actually be able to get to a vulnerability. But
Okay.
I think it looks good. But you...
It is a competition piece, right? You mentioned, or
I'm not sure.
okay.
But yeah, so...
that was a different piece. Sorry, that was like a fantasy piece, not this one.
I'm not sure. But what I would say is... think about the story that you're trying to tell with this piece. Like every model has its own story. So this guy is the survivor, right? Because you see how you've got that crack there, you've got all of that, and see like he's still going strong, and see that's why you want to sell some of those other bits just a bit more. You know, just that tiny bit of chipping around there would sell that story of he is essentially the shining knight, the survivor. And think about it in sort of those archetypical ways, because it seems like painting wise there's not a lot that we can actually tell you. Like we can tell you, all right, if you make this bit a bit shinier, like you did some really intense non-metallic work with that, like it could help sell that idea of the shining knight sort of thing. But I think like overall the style, all of that has come together really well.
Yes, definitely would say that.
But yeah, just think of the story. That would be my only bit of feedback. So now, yes.
Got Jason.
Yes, Jason Tate.
It was a wet weekend, and the eldest Spawn, 12 years old, challenged me to finally paint the Stern Guard veterans we picked up last month from the local Warhammer store. Never one to let the younger generation down, I went ahead and painted up my first ever Space Marine. I used a color palette that I have used in the past for multiple characters and monsters, so would love to know if it actually makes sense or is cohesive. It's a combo that I enjoy using, so read into that what you will. Having selected the colors, I went searching for an appropriate chapter to emulate and threw in some cheeky freehand emblems, etc. Also used the experience to practice using highlights and shadows to build volumes, as well as trying to get the lenses glowing and scope looking glossy or glassy. This would be painted to a character plus level for me, i.e. for personal display and not for competition. All right. Yeah, I did take a look at the highlighting that you had done, and I can see the very nice sort of hatching and layering that you've tried to do there.
All right. So since you're talking about character plus level, and you're one of the few people who have actually told us what it is that you are doing, we'll take a look in further. So I think, first off, very good at telling a story, right? So how you've got that glow there, you've got this glassy look here, and this is where, like, this little totem, I'm not sure if this is part of it or not, right? This is where I think you could improve, because essentially, right, if this isn't part of, so see around here, it has this feel like it's glowing, but I'm not sure whether you mean to give it that look like it's glowing, right?
Yeah.
And see, if it is glowing, you should give more of a subtle line around it, because right here it's quite clean, and then over here it's a bit harder to sort of distinguish. Now, I'm not giving you a hard time about that, because like I see a tiny little mark there, right? And look, all of us have problems with brush control now and then, right? But I feel like that's one of the areas where you could work on, because I can see that you're putting a lot of effort into it. Like, I really like the way that he's done this highlight.
Yeah.
It's what do you call those? A specular highlight,
Yes.
where it's from the light. And see, you can see right here, he's very much selling that story, because it's quite bright here, quite bright there, but then down here, it's not as bright.
Yeah.
And then brighter down there. Like that's really good. That is very good. And I like the lens. The lens has come together great.
Yeah, because like from this angle, when you've taken the photo, it definitely looks very glassy because the light would have bounced off in that way. It definitely looks very realistic in that sense. Yeah.
So I think all of that's great. This is one of the areas where you can improve, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm not as worried about brush control, because brush control is something that people will naturally improve, right? But if you're going for a certain look, like, and you're like, here, I'm trying to tell this story, that I consider in high regard, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because, like, people can improve those sorts of things.
But like the ability to tell a story requires true creativity and...
Well, because, like, if you're trying to tell a story, right, and you stuff up your storytelling, right? Like, for example, this is a the. You know, when you write in your story where, like, some of the times you write the.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's a the, and it's like, oh, all right, whatever. Like, that's not a mistake that I'm worried about.
Okay.
Whereas this right here, if you're trying to give a glow effect and it's not glowing, right?
Right.
That's a completely different thing.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because with this, he is trying to tell a bit of a story, right? So this is a guy who's out in the light, that sort of thing, right? And you see all of those sort of specular highlights. He's going really hard with the specular highlight. So he's saying this person is out in the light. He is seen, and he's done a lot of work with the freehand. He's used, this is the Inquisition symbol, the eye.
Yeah.
He hasn't done the little bits within it, so it might just be a number 1.
Oh, okay.
You know, as in...
Yeah, I know
the Roman
how
numeral?
the Inquisition symbol has a few more little dashes inside.
So, like, there's a lot of sort of storytelling within this model. But that's why I said that's more important. I think the freehands come up great. I think that the specular highlights have come up great. You've got a few tiny technical errors, right? Like, for example, how the highlights come over here. You know, he's done the highlight.
Right, yeah, okay.
Corrected. But, like, the thing is, I think that you've done really, really well. That's the only thing I think. Color choice wise, like, you've got this turquoise, and then I'd say that this is sort of like an off burgundy.
It's definitely a desaturated burgundy.
But see, I think it would look better with an actual burgundy, don't you think? Like a sort of
because
rich, vibrant burgundy.
Yeah, because you've got that sort of brighter blue, and you've got that bright green totem thing, which we're not sure if it's glowing or not. If you had a saturated burgundy, when you convert it to black and white, it actually would be like close to black because of how saturated it is. So value difference wise, you've got light legs, light totem, dark cloak, and that just breaks that value difference, and it will pop the totem a lot more with the glow effect if you're meant to do that. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. And so the reason why I talked about the glow effect is because of his eye right here. So he uses the exact same colors with the eye. And see, if this was a different color to the eye, right? See, we see how controlled the lens is. And then we see this over here where it seems like it almost comes into the other area. And that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah. And when it comes to the color psychology stuff, Jason, all we talked about before is we're more saying this is the story you're trying to tell. And so the sea is treacherous. So as far as this says, right, this story of this guy is danger.
Well, this one is closer to that sort of aqua, cool, calm, serene, I would say. Because like the one that is the danger, the one that you said was more like the deeper,
right? But take a look at how how the specular highlights come in, right? And then take a look at this green. It's that toxic green sort of thing, right?
You've got a black head as well.
Yeah. And so with that, it's almost as if this danger has come to life. You know, it's come out and like, this looks cool and calming, but when it's combined with the rest of this stuff, it's just like, danger, danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think you did really well. I hope that we...
Oh, it's for competition.
No, he says, and not for competition.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
So, like, I think you did really well. Next steps. So, I would say try for true metallic metal. I don't know if this is a shine. I don't think that this is anything other than the light here.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but see, if you do that true metallic metal, that will really, really complement those specular highlights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just basically get the gold where you've got the light hitting here right now, and just like basically do
gold.
that.
Yeah,
basically do that with paint. I think that color choice is great. I would go for a more vibrant burgundy, more, you know, a bit darker and richer.
Yeah, richer.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah. Great, fantastic. All right, so we have been doing up a lot of terrain, like a boatload of terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And we're feeling the tiredness from it, but quickly we will go through what we have done up. So these are just the works in progress, and we see the completed work somewhere later on.
But we have acquired some tools today which should help with some of the frustrating parts.
So these ones are not completed either, but they're almost there. So these are all the works in progress. And these ones just basically needed the wheels added to them. So these ones are pretty much completed. But yeah, like this is what we're talking about when we're talking about color contrast, because like this is essentially a red. It's a very
desaturated. Well, yeah, you could say it's close to the orange warmer tones of the gold.
And so the green and the blue contrast very strongly.
Yeah. Because it's like dark and then that's super bright.
Yeah.
Ooh, more Ron.
Yes, more Ron.
This is great. Your classic
later Ron.
Primary tricolor harmony going on here.
Yeah.
So these skeletons.
I think they are skeletons. They're skeletons.
Skeletons.
Yes, but I very much like the visual hierarchy. It's good. You've got the exposed bone there. You know, people are like, whoop.
I'm not sure about that unusual, odd, tall patch of grass.
I don't know.
In the middle.
I don't care.
The side.
Don't listen to her, Ron. She's crazy.
It looks weird.
She's a mad woman. She won't.
I don't think
wash
that
my
happens
clothes.
in nature.
I'm beaten. What?
Honey, be me. Be to me.
But yeah, no, they look like knights that have become skeletons, and I think that's the story you're going for.
Yeah.
And like, it looks good. It looks
really
good.
love that choice of blue with a more sort of desaturated red.
Yeah.
And then you've got that bright yellow, and it just really pops.
It does pop.
Because,
like when we look here, you're just like, ooh.
Because like at least 80 to 90% of your model is more like desaturated tones, and then you've got the brightness of the accent piece, so it's nice.
So
more of our stuff.
Yes, more of our stuff. So this was Whip Wednesday. So Sunny actually did quite a bit of the detailing on these ones while I slogged through something.
The Mechanicus symbol.
Yeah, you did the Mechanicus symbol, and you also did the... do you have a close-up?
The gauges and the light bulbs.
Yeah, you did these gauges.
Yeah, it's finished now, but in this picture it wasn't done. Yeah.
Wasn't. But yes, I did the...
The beep beep boop.
But she did the
gauges.
Yes.
Sound effects. Those will help describe the items.
Well, like, see, they do.
And then the ping ping. This one is the ping ping.
Yeah, ping ping.
Ping ping.
Yes.
And that's the doing doing, and this is the boop boop.
Alright, she's gone too far. She's gone mad with Asperger's.
Look, this one I like.
Yes.
This one when we showed the pristine, battered, and damaged versions of these barricades.
So I think these come together quite well because, like, this, it's obvious that this has just come off a factory floor and there's a bit of, steel showing through. Like, as if they've just sprayed it, they've just propped it up on something.
Well, it's used a little bit, but it's still fairly new. Sort of thing, because like obviously the sliding door, and then the next one is like you got a lot of hits on them.
But what I like is this implies that after it got all damaged, rather than trying to sort of weld extra steel into there to sort of fix the damage, they just painted over it.
Like that's supposed to fix something.
It is classic 40k, but yeah, and I really kind of like how the masking fluid takes some of the rust with it, because like you're left with a bit of the rust on the outside, but it's not as...
It works for some of the pieces,
and then it doesn't
for some of the others, because it takes too much for some of the other ones. So now we have to reapply. Alright,
so next up we've got Tyrone de Bono, and what I actually really loved about these guys, right? So we've got a Knight, a Mind Flayer, and Constantine. And so when...
Constantine is black hair.
In the comics he has yellow hair.
Really, does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say yellow, I should say blonde.
Blonde hair,
but like in the comics it's always done up as that sort of...
comically yellow colour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it comically. But what I said was... what would actually be... What's actually hilarious is that all of these guys could go on an adventure and none of them would feel out of place. There's...
It makes total sense. Constantine fighting with the Mind Flayer.
And the Knight.
And the Knight from...
He's like, oh, bloody hell, Look at all these demons. What am I going to do?
And then Constantine, I know what demons look like. I deal with them every day. Or something like that.
That's because you've watched the Keanu Reeves one. In the comics, he is like the most English chav kind of guy ever. So like chav is sort of like Australian, not ochre, but more like bogan.
Bogan, okay.
Like, oh, come on, bruv, sort of thing.
I was trying to have me sandwich in the cafe, and this Mind Flayer, he just come up and he take me sandwich. I don't get paid enough for this. Job.
All right. The role-playing session is tomorrow. All right, but good colour choice with the hair plume and the more coppery goldishness. I think this base needs a little work. Obviously,
a few more elements,
obviously you don't have a lot of room to do any basing for this guy. Constantine looks good, but needs one extra element once again. I think the tie looks good, the pants look good, but I think you need a bit of level of contrast between the high boots and that. I don't mind the color choice, but I would go darker with it so that the shirt,
pops more.
Yeah. Like that's my only feedback, and maybe do a bit of little cuts and such, because Constantine's not going to change his jacket. Okay.
No, don't change me jacket.
Yes.
I don't change me jacket.
But I really do love this blue. This quite sort of deep blue.
Is it cerulean blue? Oh, no, it's phthalo.
Phthalo blue? No, that's not phthalo blue.
I feel like it is.
So, Ashley's gotten something painted. Woo!
My gutter is painted.
My gutter.
You see, that's what he said. And my gutter bowl team for the upcoming Sunny Coast Street Slam.
So, let's take a look at them. I think that the basing is good. He's actually got his 3 elements here. But I feel as if, they
do look quite dull, don't they?
Yeah. Well, because you've got that blood and that sort of thing. But look, if you're Khorne, you've got some blood here. But there is very few skulls. There's very
Not
few
enough
skulls.
skulls.
Needs more skulls.
Warhammer skull
Yes.
future.
Yes. So the only thing that I would say on these guys, right, is there's nothing wrong with them. He's obviously going for tabletop, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I would do is these bits of gold here, I'd try and make them more bright, more vibrant.
I wonder if he's actually going for gold because they seem to be painted red.
No. See, like those little bits of trim?
Yeah.
Like there's little bits of trim here and there which are gold. Not a lot, but I'd try and make the gold shine quite brightly to contrast really strongly against those more dull colours. But yeah, some skulls I think would really help with this. You know, and like it wouldn't matter, unlike a lot of other people, if these skulls are exposed because, you know, it's Korn. He wants to show off the skulls. He's like, look
at my skull.
Yes.
Look at my blood.
Yes.
This might.
Yes. Take a look. But yeah, I think really good. Looks good.
Yeah.
All right. So next up. It's Lance. So he said, yes, this is actual wood, but I wanted to comment on this rail right here. So we get a
real wood.
Yeah, no, so see here on this bit right here, that's what I was talking about. It seems much more like real wood here than it does on some of the other pieces. So like it doesn't seem bad or anything, but what I'm trying to tell you is what you did for this part right here, and I don't know if it's any different from any of the other pieces, but this feels like real wood.
I would say yeah, because of the grain, the way the grain is there, yeah. It does look pretty good. And yeah, I mean, I don't have too much comment to say because you've gone for a wooden stage. Is that a stage?
No, it's like a dock sort of thing, or like a pier.
Well, if you want to do a pier, you could add a little bit of moss, a dirty down moss here and there.
Oh yeah,
so like the algae and the barnacle.
Oh, down here, yeah, no, that could come off well. Yeah, no, that could be good. But I do think like that's why I wanted to point out that one bit, Lance, because like I look at this. And like some of these come through as timber more than the others.
like those perfect sort of wood flooring that you've got.
Yeah. And see, like some of it comes through more than the others. And see, what I try and do with these is I try and paint them up separately as much as I could, and then assemble them so that like it looks like distinct pieces of wood.
Yeah.
You know, so like for example, see how the grain sort of all matches one another.
Yeah.
And then what I'd try and have is, so these be cut pieces, and then like the next piece of wood would look slightly different sort of thing, you follow?
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to say that about that one piece.
I can understand why you say that, yeah.
Alright, so that's great. And here is the beige dystopian future. So our client has asked us to do like some which are more pristine, not pristine, but more pristine.
So you still see that paint chipping under there, but it's just the first layer of paint that's chipped off.
And then over here, it's like
the metal is coming through, and then the last one is like the rust has started to form. Yeah.
So very, very sort of distinct looks, but they come from the same origin sort of thing. So like one's just a lot more damaged. So okay.
He's based it up.
Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look.
It looks so good.
Oh, look, that looks so much different now. That looks so much different now.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Okay, so
and I love how he's done that little grey powdering in the base of the thing.
Yes. So yeah, that does look a lot different. But I feel like so obviously he's fixed this. He's completely changed that look, right? So obviously that green was meant to be for the interior there. I think this has fixed up a lot of the things that we were talking about, with the exception of color choice. And see, he fixed up that little mistake he had over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel vindicated with some of the things I said, because like that's all fixed up, and I'm like, all right, great. You know, he's done the thing. He's done the thing. But I feel like we've given almost all of our commentary on the work in progress.
Yeah, that
thing
we couldn't say it for the final piece. Yeah,
because this basing is fantastic.
It is.
I love this. I love how you've got the different levels
you can
of tufts.
Really tell where this environment is. Like, you
Yeah.
could say it's like some sort of a cliffside area.
Yeah, well, see,
You
like
know?
I feel like this is like this guy seems almost Greek now. Because you've got that little trident,
yeah.
and see, well, like that is a Greek symbol, and more just this looks like a Greek seaside. You know how they don't have the beaches as much,
the cliffs,
yeah, and I feel as if like now more than ever, he screams that danger. Like I said before,
the story is coming together.
Yes, the story is coming together. But yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful.
But if you skip right to this part and you're like, oh, you didn't say nothing, really, nothing kind of thing. We said a lot more before. So yeah, because there is nothing wrong with that bass. That bass is all, yes.
Very nice.
All right, so next up, it's more of us.
Oh, this is the masking fluid that we put in.
And it is tedious.
Yes, but
That is the answer.
But to be fair, it's a lot easier to use this than, can you imagine blue tacking all of those?
Oh yeah, and removing
no.
some of the blue tack right now has
It'd
become
be very difficult because of how tightly packed the details are, the blue tack gets stuck between some areas. And you
I'm
can't
going to
take
leave
it.
you to comment on this one by yourself, because nature calls me.
Well, nature's been calling me for a while.
Yes, but you didn't say anything.
Yes, because I am trying to push through for the people.
Yes.
So Joseph, okay, well, let's take a look at this. I think I did it incorrectly. I don't know how to do the duplicate thingy, but never mind. So we've got the lantern finished off, and you've got that nice dark green going on. And I really think the dark green complements this cloak very nicely, because the cloak has a bit of a greenish tinge to it. So it really complements these two things together very nicely. And again, of course, excellent smooth highlight on the skin, and that very nice subtle glow just hitting onto the mask underneath. And I do believe pretty much oh yeah, I love what you've done there, like that sort of bright. Yes, I don't even know how to explain this.
You're
now.
talking about the OSL effect?
Yeah, because like he's got that yellow glow, and then he's got that nice bright orange center for where the where the light will cast itself. And I was like, oh yes, I can appreciate all these teeny tiny little details that you've put in, you know. And I can see that she's carrying a whole satchel of katanas.
Is there a satchel of katanas, or is that wood or something?
I feel like they're swords.
I'm unsure. Oh no, you're right. It's some sort of iron.
Yeah. And see, that's a hilt. These are hilts, a burgundy color.
Oh no.
Oh, is that the eyes? Is
Yeah.
that really the eyes?
Yeah.
That looks like this is the face, and then that is like an eye mask that someone painted googly eyes on. That's what it looks like.
Oh no. But yeah, no, I think that this is fantastic work.
I feel like this is good enough to be the studio example.
Well,
the way that
I think
he's painted
I
it.
think if the eyes weren't the way they are,
They could.
Yes.
They could be, can't they?
yes.
I think he's
Learn
really,
more.
He's got very spot on.
I think that the Facebook is breaking down, because that learn more thing
Popped
is
up.
obviously from something else, and it's just like, all right, I've given up.
I bet this is from Andy. Oh yes,
Yes.
because it looks very similar
And
to
see this.
Sir Geetsalot.
Yes. So they're Carnivale. So I've made a start on the rest of the
Commedia dell'arte. which is Sir Yeats-a-Lot's gang from the Gang Carnival. Yeah.
Shh. You cretin.
Just
Alright.
base coats and skin tones for now. And then notice some mold lines I had to clean up, and I knocked one on the floor.
So a bit of a mixed bag for the start. But yes, no, I know that feeling. Someone knows that feeling today. Yes, destroying all of my hard work. Alright, so I like, even just with the base coats on, I feel like this is such a better miniature than the Oliphant. Because like I take a look at this and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. It's so nice to look at. And see, that's why I was like, I can't be too down on the Oliphant sort of thing. And like, it's just so nice looking at this one. It is, isn't it? The sculpt is so good.
And it's like, got a good base for the blonde hair too.
Yeah. And like, even though it's just base coats down, yes, I see the brokenness. And oh no, the hand. The hand looks to have gone a bit. Oh.
Feel the anxieties of today.
Yes. Andy, know that we feel feelings with you. We has the empathies, not the sympathies.
We have the emotional response.
Yes. Mark 1 sadness.
That's how do you describe that?
It's a mechanic from the game we play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you have a scene, you can't act until you've marked an emotion. And it's angry, happy, sad,
disgust,
or fear.
Happy as well. Oh, did you say happy already?
Yeah.
Fear. Yeah, and fear.
So it's the 5 base emotions. So yes, we may mark 1 sad to react to you and your story. Because like I even see like there's a bit more glue than usual here with like I'm just like, and it's like never again. But it's a good start, and I think it's a great contrast because we see the difference. You're just base coating these, and like they almost look better than the finished models with some of the other ones. And like that's one of the things. Don't blame the painter for the sculpt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Being patient with seeing all of our posts. We've got more to post.
Other people really posted a lot.
Yes, they did. They posted in response to our posts. See the posts?
Yeah, the posts.
The posts. She's shaking her head. That doesn't come through in audio, so everybody just agrees with me now.
Agrees with you, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, and like what a journey seeing that, and like you. This is why works in progress are so important. Seeing this turn into that.
Yes, correct.
And like
and
seeing
this as well.
Yeah, seeing this start last week. Like, it was so pristine and clean, and then now it's this. Yeah. And seeing these whole armies come.
Shaolin Wolverine.
Yes, Shaolin Wolverine.
The blob of green.
But yeah, no, like seeing how people do things, right? And what's great is we've got Ron here, right? Who's absolutely smashing things out. Same with Cal, right? Just smashing things out. And then we've got Alex, who's like, I just do this one model and it will be perfect.
Yes.
And we can also see the difference here. We can see the difference between sculpts. I think this is what WAYPN is all about.
Yeah.
You know, seeing people change and evolve and get better. And like, we all have our own struggles. We all have our own goals. And what I love is that we can have people of all different levels here.
Yes.
So, from us to you, keep those brushes wet. Bye-bye.